Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Ask an Autistic. I'm your host, Jessica Leichtweisz. I'm the CEO of Hope Education Services, and I've been working with kids with autism for 13 years. But I've also never lived with autism, so what I can tell you about autism is limited. Every week, I bring a panel of autistic adults to get your questions about autism answered. It's a free weekly webinar that parents, teachers, just community members who want to be good people and good neighbors can come on and ask autistic adults their questions about autism. If you want to be on live, you can go over to hopeeducationservices.com under events, register. It's totally free, and we would love to see you here. If you're watching on YouTube, we hope to see you next week. And if you're here live tonight, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the number one thing, or the one thing that parents, the most important thing that parents or teachers should know about autism. So I'm going to introduce our panelists, and they're going to come on and tell you the number one thing that they wish parents and teachers would know about autism. So first, we're going to have Michelle come on. Michelle's amazing. She's a paraprofessional. She's diagnosed with autism, and she now works with kids with autism. And Michelle's going to tell us what's the number one thing you wish parents and professionals knew about autism.
What I wish for parents to know that it is a spectrum. So please get to know the child / the student, because they're only one person. Everybody's got different skills and abilities, but it's so important to get to know them and appreciate them, because they truly can grow, and just love them for who they are. Yeah.
That's beautiful, Michelle. Thank you so much. Next, we're going to bring on Jeff. Jeff is incredible. He is a speaker in the field of autism. He also is diagnosed with autism. And Jeff is going to share with us, what is your number one thing you wish parents and professionals knew about autism?
Well, the one thing I would possibly recommend is that the child will not go at the same pace as the other students or the other kids. When it comes to particularly socializing, I would take it slow. Do not be forceful. Do not force the child to be involved in social situations, and particularly when it comes to family gatherings or school dances. You're not going to expect them to act the way that others would expect your child to react. And I've said this during all our episodes, we are who we are. We cannot change it. And again, I'm quoting from My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. We're not flawless. We're a work in progress. We've got dents and we got quirks, and we have our flaws that make us work.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I have to maybe go back and watch that show. It sounds like it has some beautiful wisdom in there. I can see why you like it, and it's important to you. Thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome.
Next person we are going to hear from is Kevin. Kevin also is diagnosed as autistic. He also works with children with autism and is now becoming an RBT to actually do ABA. So Kevin, thank you for being here. And what is your number one thing you would want parents and professionals to know about autism?
Well, yeah, good question. What is the number one thing? Because a lot is coming to mind really right now. I would say, I would definitely say, if you don't mind, I'm gonna have to pick like a top three. I think we're a diverse population. How one person with autism is not going to be how one person with autism behaves is not going to be necessarily a good predictor of how another person with autism behaves. And I would say and therefore I would say, to follow up with that, another critical thing to know is don't judge someone with autism based on their verbal skills, because I think there are a lot of people with autism who have less, verbal, who are like nonverbal or have more limited verbal skills than any of us have, that are nonetheless just as smart as we are. And I think largely of my cousin with autism who I really am hoping to really have as as a guest on here sometime. My uncle is a little bit camera shy though, so I'm hoping to bring them on though one of these weeks. And he's someone who's pretty much has limited verbal skills, but he is nonetheless, I think he is every bit as smart as we are. He's just not able to express it verbally. So I think that's an important thing to know for sure. And yeah, shoot, what was the third thing I was gonna say? But oh yes, the third thing was also do never underestimate their abilities. Basically, you know, tell them as you would your neurotypical kids, the sky is the limit, and really do not really try to say you can never really be in that mode of like, you can't do this because you have autism.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And you know what I love about Kevin is that 30 years ago, that wasn't what society believed to be true. 30 years ago, we as a society believed autism was essentially a death sentence. It essentially was believed that if you had autism, it meant you were going to be dependent upon other people for your whole lives. And people like you, Kevin, and people like Michelle and Jeff and Jesse, who we're going to hear from in a minute, and sorry about my dog, we're all working from home. We all know what it's like in 2020. So, you know, you guys are really just people who went first, and you proved it was possible for the generation today who, frankly, you did it when you didn't have the support that kids have today. And I just think you're all such beautiful people and such an inspiration, and proof that what you said is true. So again, I apologize. My package just got delivered. So the dog is announced now. So Jesse, I would love to hear your perspective, and I will mute myself so the dog doesn't interrupt you. But what is your number one thing you wish parents and professionals knew?
Well, I believe, Jeff, you kind of stole my answer. I'm just kidding, but I'm sort of on the same wavelength, that everyone with autism is at a different pace in their lives, and you don't know that a so-called flaw could be actually dramatic improvements, or they're one way of compensating for a much worse flaw that wreaked havoc. And the child is going insane thinking that they're doing the right thing and trying hard, and they still end up sharply criticized, and it is unbearable. I've always found that whenever a problem is fixed, a brand new one is created. All of a sudden I was eating too slow, then eating too fast. My watch is too tight, it's cutting off my circulation. Now my watch is too loose. And a child, as you said, Jeff, they will achieve milestones on their own pace. And even if something does not appear to be normal, let the so-called weirdness rage, especially if it's not hurting anybody. I went trick or treating until the age of 31 years old, my friends. And let me tell you, it was awesome. And the only reason I stopped is due to moving to Albany. And children have to be celebrated for even the smallest accomplishments, no matter how menial it is to the rest of the world. For that child, it is a milestone. I'd go as far as saying that, let's say a child says F you, bitch to his teacher an average of 15 to 20 times a week, because they feel they have a power with those profanities. They like the reaction they get. But then the next week they only say it to their teacher 3 times a week. That should be celebrated, even if others want it to be perfect. The teacher should call up the parents, for example, and say, Johnny has shown a lot of improvement. He only said the F word to me 3 times this week. And the parents should praise the child as well, so the child will be motivated to make more incremental improvements.
Yeah, Jesse, I love you. I think you have the funniest examples. And I totally believe what you're saying to be true about like celebrating all progress and small achievements. And I think that's so important.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just going to say, though, as a teacher, if a teacher ever said F-U-B-I-T-C-H to me even one time, I assure you I would not make it a cause for celebration. They would do it once and not happen. It wouldn't happen again. So I'm just teasing you. But, I always find your examples to be funny. I love your sense of humor. So, but really, no. I think that's all fantastic advice. I love what all of you are sharing. I think it's really true. It helps me be a better professional. And to all the parents and professionals who watch this video to the end, I hope that it just helps you to understand your child a little bit better, understand what's most important. I mean, right now, if you're watching this video, probably you have a young child diagnosed with autism. They probably can't tell you what they think. They probably can't tell you what they feel. But by listening to these adults, they can be the closest thing you have to the voice of your child to understand autism and understand them better. So thank you for watching. We hope to see you next week. Again, if you forgot or you just jumped in on late, just head over to hopeeducationservices.com, register under events. This is a free weekly webinar, and we hope to see you next week.